This is a belated video because I did my first two on this series already. It's my third. This is my third and final of the Lord of the Rings extended trilogy review for Return of the King. Arguably, a lot of people out there that I know that are Lord of the Rings fans, they would say that this is probably their favorite one. It's definitely the one that garnered the most attention from the Academy. Winner of 11 Oscars, including Best Picture, Best Director. I mean, it swept the awards. Absolutely swept the awards up in 2003. It's amazing. It's definitely, I think, probably the best third entry in a trilogy to date. I'm really like trying to think of a movie that I can think of as a third for a series in a trilogy that is just as good as this one, and I can't really think of it. Altogether, this is like a 4.5 hour long movie, and to your average moviegoer, that's gonna be a deal breaker right there. Yeah, it's just not for me though, man. I mean, if the quality's there and there is great characters, fantastic story, writing, special effects, just emotion, just an emotional core that's there, and it has a beginning, middle, and end. I mean, shit, sign me up for 6 hours of it, 8 hours, an eternity. Maybe not an eternity. If the quality's good, you got my attention. I mean, there's people out there that binge watch TV shows for days, and they'll, stream through 8 seasons of a show, but they can't make it through a 3-4 hour long movie. Give me a freaking break. Everything comes to a head in this one, and everything is resolved, or at least is answered. Maybe not resolved is the best word for everything, but everything has closure in this. And there's, in a way, people kind of joke about there being like 5 endings to this movie because the screen fades to black like 3 or 4 times and you think it's over, but nope, it's not over. Probably the greatest build-up and the greatest sense of scale and everything is the Battle of the Pelennor Fields. An absolutely monumental sight to behold on the big screen. I still get goosebumps even thinking about when Theoden and the Riders of Rohan show up to bail Gondor out from Mordor. Just incredible. I mean, like, to me, that battle sequence in that movie, it rivals anything that I've seen in any other epic scale movie, whether it's, Braveheart. I'm trying to think of any like big epics. I mean, I've really never seen a battle and the stakes quite feel so high as they do in Return of the King during that battle. And Theoden, oh my god. I mean, I mentioned the actor that plays him in Two Towers, and again, he crushes it here, and I'll be honest, I really think he should have been nominated for a Best Supporting Actor nod. I mean, give that man something, give him some credit. Look up this guy's resume. Shit, give this guy as much work as you can, because he crushes it as Theoden, and my god, his speech before they all charge into the fields. Oh, I mean, shit, I almost have to stop this video just to go look up the clip of it right now. So aside from the scale and everything, you also get to see resolution with Aragorn and his character. You get to see him abandon the ranger life and become who he was born to be, which is the King of Men, the King of Gondor. And seeing his journey, seeing how Viggo Mortensen, the subtle nuances that he added to the character and showed how his mentality towards how he thought oh, sorry, cat's wailing. Rocket! Let me just get the rating for it out of the way right now. A+. A+. Masterpiece. Top tier. Like in the top 100, top 10. And I gotta touch on the ending of this movie. When Frodo is at the Grey Havens and surprises everybody by boarding the boat to leave the Fellowship and to leave the Shire and everything he knows behind because of all that he went through, because the journey affects Frodo more than anybody else on there, but Frodo, being the strength that he had of the ring bearer, he keeps everything very close to the chest, I feel like, and so it's a big emotional surprise when you find out that it's eaten at him more than people realize, and maybe even including himself. And so he takes the decision with Gandalf to leave that life behind and go into something new. And I think that's a moment in movies where, I mean, one, it's seeing a character go on to a better place, but it's someone that we have seen now for these 3 movies, and we've become extremely attached to him. And of all the emotional things I've seen in movies, the Grey Haven scene, I will get teary-eyed and even cry a little bit when I see that. It was so beautifully done. Everything about that scene is absolutely perfect. I would not change a single thing. The acting is incredible, and just the swell of emotions that you feel during that scene, and also realizing that you as the audience are about to leave this world as well. It's incredibly powerful. Lord of the Rings as a whole, like this series of movies, it really makes me think about how they're going to sit over the test of, just how the test of time is going to work on them. I don't know. I mean, I really think that, in 20, 30 years or however long it'll be, these movies are going to stand at the test of time, I think. The themes and messages and the plight of these characters is stuff that's extremely relatable, and I think their love and strength for each other, it's timeless, and it's really some of the storytelling that we, just the storytelling in Lord of the Rings is some of the finest that I think I've ever seen. Extended footage wise for Lord of the Rings, I think probably the best, most beneficial footage in this is that we do get a little bit more with Aragorn and Éowyn. We get to see their relationship develop more, but more importantly, we get to see the relationship between Faramir and the daughter of King Theoden, which I'm really drawing a blank out to what her character's name is. Because I remember seeing the theatrical cut of the movie and their relationship when it was in there. It wasn't forced or nothing like that. Like, I think it made sense for why I was there, but you could definitely tell that there was some editing done around that because they just didn't simply have the time to add that footage in there and still give room for the most important stuff. So it was really nice to see that relationship blossom a lot more in the extended edition and get more closure on that, and on Faramir as a character. More extended edition with the City of the Dead, where Aragorn recruits the undead army. Most of that stuff was fine. Like, it's certainly entertaining. I think as a fan of the source material and stuff, it's cool. But I can see why they cut around some of that stuff. It didn't necessarily need to be in the movie. It just sort of padded onto the movie's runtime. So whatever. Another scene that I kind of am like, why did they take that out? Because it's so good. Is when the King Witch of Angmar, one of the Riders of the Nine, breaks Gandalf's staff and basically nearly crushes his hope in Minas Tirith. That scene is freaking incredible and tense, and really you think that, like, shit, like, they might not make it. That scene, I wish they would have left that in there, but other than that, some of the other stuff, it's kind of debatable about whether you'd leave it in or not. I'd love to hear your guys' thoughts on that. Let me know what you think about the extended editions, and I'd like to know, just as a whole, for Lord of the Rings, do you prefer the theatrical cuts or the extended cuts? I'd like to know. I feel like most of the die-hard, real Lord of the Rings fans, they're going to be saying extended edition because it gives them more of the source material. But I don't know. I can tell you myself that as far as my opinion goes, I think that the theatrical cuts do still have the best flow overall, and I would still probably watch the theatrical ones over the extended. But as a real fan of Lord of the Rings and someone that does very much appreciate the source material, I do have much appreciation and love for the extended edition and the theatrical. Anyways though, guys, that's going to wrap it up for me for my thoughts on the Lord of the Rings trilogy, The Return of the King, and its extended edition. So I thank you so very much for hanging with me for these videos. Anyways, I'll see you guys in the next video. Thanks for watching.